Hi, folks. So I'm here for your full moon forecast. I hope you're all coming out slowly at the end of the last eclipse. Things are starting to settle, but not quite yet. We've still got a few days left of November, and things will hopefully start to feel more solid and more grounded for you in your life. So stick with it, folks. Um, I know a lot of people have been navigating a lot of different changes internally as well. And it obviously takes time for us for the internal shifts to then for us to see them in our external world. Um, so have patience, people. I know it's hard. So this new moon, full moon, sorry, is happening in Gemini on the 27th of November. I've lost where it is at 4 degrees and 51 seconds. And that's happening at 9:16 a.m. That's GMT time. So with a full moon, it brings things to the surface. So if you set any intentions or planted any seeds of that new moon 2 weeks ago, you might have started to see some of those seeds grow. So just acknowledge what is coming into fruition, because often we forget, we get so stuck in the how this is going to happen, we forget to notice the signs that that thing is coming into our life, right? So acknowledge it. And it might be a really small sign, but it also might take time for those seeds you've planted to be cultivated. It might take a few moon cycles. So just be aware of that. But let me know. I'd love to hear below what is coming to fruition for you at this full moon. You know, maybe something really exciting. Like for me, months ago, we said we were going to get a cat. And this week we got a beautiful cat on Monday. And she is the most gorgeous thing ever. I have been very distracted with her this week. She's called Nala. And she's the most affectionate little thing. So that has been opening my heart a lot this week because I am animal mad. Um, so this, the full moon will be illuminating a life area for you. So if you go to Cafe Astrology, you can look up your whole natal chart and see which life area Gemini and Sag are in for you, because of course with the full moon, we're on that Gemini Sagittarius axis. So Gemini is an air element, and it's a reminder to be aware of our communication. You know, what are we thinking? What language are we using? Because those thoughts really then affect what actions we take, that internal voice that we have. And I know I have a very critical voice inside. Sometimes it can be louder. So just noticing what are those reoccurring thoughts that keep popping up for you. It's good to notice them, be kind with yourself and notice them. And how can you reframe that language or that thought pattern? What can you replace it with? Because actually we're 80% of the way there if we can acknowledge, if we can notice that pattern that is surfacing. So just be proud, celebrate that you have noticed it. And the next step is to reframe that, to notice it so you don't get stuck into that thought or that behavior again. So just be mindful of that. So Gemini is like the lower mind and Sagittarius is the higher mind. So Gemini as an archetype is really interesting. It's like the twins. So if you know people with a lot of Gemini in them, they can be quite indecisive. They're not quite sure what they want. They flip from one thing to another. So there may be this sort of feeling of like, I've got an idea over here and over there, and we might be overthinking things. So we might be a bit heady at this moment. So it's really important to ground yourself. And so those twins, one twin is in this material world, and one is in the higher realm. So, connecting to the divine universe. So it's almost like we receive that inspiration, those visions, and we need to kind of bring it down into the material world for it to be birthed into the world. So it's a very quick energy. Gemini is very quick thinking, can overthink things, but on the gift of this archetype is very much about being dynamic, How can you be more dynamic in your life and more adaptable? It's a mutable energy and asks how can we adapt to new situations. And I love people with Gemini energy because they have a wealth of knowledge about all things. They are the people that are probably good at a million different subjects. They could tell you they know a bit about everything. So really use that to your advantage. If you've got a business, if you're creative, really tap into those skills and gifts that you've learned that can help you as an artist, that can help you grow and evolve in your business. So the Gemini is the logical brain, is the mental realm, what's in your local environment. It's also about like our neighborhood as well, our local area. And Saggy, the centaur, the fire side of this full moon is like, what's my bigger vision that I'm moving towards? So, we've got to balance the two. What is like around me right now, where I live, in my home, in my neighborhood, and how can I move towards my bigger vision more easily? So, like, think about what is the next step you can take to move towards that bigger vision, because sometimes it feels so massive that we need to break it down. Yeah. So this full moon is illuminating a certain area of your life. And once you know where that is, it's interesting because you can work with that energy. Like for me, this full moon is falling in my fourth house. So fourth house is about roots and family. And this week, I've had such a hectic week. It's been a really good week. Juggling lots of things, but actually at the end of the day, I've just wanted to really hermit away and be at home with my new cat, of course, which is not really normally like me. I've got a lot of energy in Sag, and I'm very out wanting to connect with new people, have new experiences. And this week I felt really like I need to come inwards and just slow down and kind of connect in with my heart to get clear about my next steps without stepping blindly forwards. So just be careful you don't step into blind faith too much, which is the Sagittarius archetype can get into blind faith. So, it's great to take those leaps. But with this energy, we've got Mars conjunct the Sun. So there is a real motivation and desire to like follow our instincts. Listen to those instincts, write them down in your journal. And also it might give us more clarity about that bigger vision that we're moving towards. Maybe you're starting to see pieces of what maybe 2024 looks like for you. What are the projects that you want to focus on creatively? It's something I haven't made space for yet. So this is a really good time to just get all your ideas down in your journal and just make space to write down that inspiration that you're getting. And then we've got the Saturn is square the full moon. So this is a tricky aspect because Saturn can be about our boundaries, about our obstacles. So with the square, it's a tension point. So again, with the full moon, it's shining a light on the things that we may have brushed under the carpet. So just notice what those obstacles coming to the surface again. Maybe the same obstacle that you keep seeing in your life. Or again, a way of your ego kicks in and it's protecting you from something, from the unknown, which we often can do. So recognize what are those obstacles you need to move past. And where do you restrict yourself? Saturn can, we can get into limiting ourselves, restricting ourselves in some way. Maybe there's a dream for next year or project that part of you doesn't believe it's possible, right? Because Saturn, the side of Saturn, it can be melancholic. So it might be that you're getting too much into self-doubt that you don't even think it's possible. So you want to lean into this beautiful Saggy energy that is seeing the bigger vision, that is holding the faith, just forgetting about the how, getting it all down on paper. Yeah. And, this is a good time to dream. It's not necessarily a great time to finalize plans. Okay. So just wait to finalize your plans for, at least a few days, until you have a bit more insight and clarity. Yeah, so don't get too carried away with that blind faith of Sagittarius. But there's a lot of mutable energy at this full moon, which is great for being adaptable. We definitely had to be adaptable at this eclipse season. So if you're still feeling like the rug's being pulled from under you, just know that there is more clarity coming. Yeah, stick with it. Take each day as it comes. And meditate, just do those things that calm down your nervous system, calm down the mind, because this Gemini can make us overthink. And then we've got Mercury trine the North Nodes. This is interesting because Mercury in Sag is that very future orientated, right? I'm being a visionary. I'm going to communicate those ideas I have in the world. And actually they connect with my soul purpose, which is the North Node. So really being in tune with those instincts you're getting, like inspired inspiration you receive, really notice that and take note of that, because that could be a massive piece in what your soul is calling you towards for next year. Yeah, so note it down, get it down in the journal. Doesn't mean you have to act on the idea right now, but put it in an ideas book. If you don't have one, I'd suggest getting an ideas book. And then we got Venus opposite the North Node. So again, North Node is about our soul path. We're leaning towards it, but in an opposition, it's tricky because we're in that polarity and we're on the seesaw of trying to balance, how do I move towards my soul purpose and serve others, versus how do I actually take care of my own needs and my own desires, right? Because they can coexist together. So with that Venus in Libra, just be aware of where do you abandon your own needs to please others or to serve others? Yeah. So if you've got a busy schedule, you're working with clients, you're doing art commissions, just make sure you're taking that time to fill up your own cup. Yeah. So that you don't get into the martyrdom of serving others and abandoning yourself, basically. So it's an exciting full moon and it is going to be a dynamic one. So go with the energy. And just be open to new inspiration that comes in, and that new awareness with this air, because the mental realm will expand our mind and help us be more innovative. Okay, so let me know how you're feeling at this full moon. I'd love to hear. Drop it in the comments below, and I will see you all soon, my loves. Bye.